As we go in here, this is the collection that just keeps on growing for Motu Origins. I don't know if anybody's seen my old videos, but originally I had this desk over there. I didn't have these shelves. I got new windows put in my house, so when that happened and I had to move some stuff around, I found I could save a lot of space by putting a desk over there and putting these shelves up over here. So we have this whole wall is Motu Origins. These shelves here, everything from here to there. These are all the Deluxes there. We got some here. We got everything. This is mostly like vehicles and stuff. And then these boxes here go all the way back. So here's one that just came in. This is Dragster. I don't take them out of the box. People don't understand it, but you know, at this point, with as much stuff as I have, there's no reason to take it out of the box. I can't display it anywhere. So these go all the way back. This shelf is just filled. And then even behind those these are the ones straight from online. So these are from the Mattel website. You have to have a membership to buy these. So where do I start here? We'll start just at the beginning line here. I'll try to pick through like variants and stuff. Try to make this a little interesting here. So it's cool. These actually lined up in an interesting way here. There's a lot of glare here, so if you look here, we have He-Man and Skeletor. Came out in 2020. And then we have another He-Man and Skeletor. If you see, there's nothing there at the top. If we get close to the faces, these are called the vintage sculpt. If you look at the faces there, they're different. So I had to get these from Poland and get them delivered. They're somewhat hard to find. They came out, all this is in order, so it actually goes like around like that and then goes, you know, like that. So like this is series 1 up here, series 2. Usually there's 4 characters in a series, except I think series 1 was maybe 6 characters. I could be wrong, but something like that. Yeah, there were six in series 1. So yeah, we had the original Evil Lyn, and then, you know, they made a 200X version. Triclops, this was the most expensive, and then they made a fan favorite, which diminished that value to almost nothing. Stupid fucking thing to do. But yeah, so the females in this line, if you look at Evil Lyn, her kneecaps are very, very flat. Now, if we go later on into the line, let's see, maybe look at Eternian Goddess here. They actually changed the kneecaps. So they made them more sculpted, more real looking. They did it on She-Ra. Here's another example right here, a Sorceress. They sculpted the knees a little bit better. So some of the females, not sure exactly if it's all the ones that have those weird knee things, but they redid them and they re-sculpted them. So we'll get to more of that in a second as we pan through. But this line here was very popular, and they had remade a lot of these. So this is the first wave in 2020 of these 4 figures. Now, what they did later on is they remade that wave and put the 40-year sticker on them. So you have those four there and those four there. Exact same thing. And then they actually made another Manny Faces, which is down here in 2023, which was supposed to be an Amazon exclusive, but a couple other retailers sold it as well. What else do we have here? So there's the regular trap jaw, the 40th anniversary trap jaw, and what's the other one I'm looking for? And that's the 40th Orco. So let's hop over here real quick. So at the end of the line, what they did is came out with fan favorites, which is they just remade them, repackaged them, and put fan favorite in the corner. So they did that with Zodak, Merman, She-Ra, Triclops, Trapjaw, the Trapjaw repaint, the King Randor, Webster, Ninjor, Orko, and Trapjaw. That's what I was looking for. So Trapjaw and Orko from that specific line. And then you have that Trapjaw, which is like the yellowish, which is also the Trapjaw here, which was the 40th. And there's the Randor. So they really remade a lot of these things. Here's the Webster. Back over there was a fan favorite Webster. They really milked this line like crazy. So they really remade a lot of these and just diminished any value that they had. So there's variants of She-Ra. There's 4 of them in total. So there's one with the new knees and old knees, and then her face, there's a different version of her face. I don't remember which one that one is, but I don't have the other one to compare it to in video. So you have the 2 different faces and 2 different knees. So if you wanted all the variants all together, it would be 4. Now, another interesting thing, when you hop over to here, before we get into Hordak, Stratos seems to be a very rare character. I drove to a comic convention and got Stratos and Triclops, the same convention. They were both around maybe $70 or so. I think Stratos was a little worse. A little bit less. What am I looking for? So here's the other Stratos that came out. And this wave right here, Stratos, Sorceress, Jitsu, Buzz-Off, this wave, they overproduced like crazy. And this really ruined the entire future line of this. And it ended up pushing almost everything online because there was so many of these made. They were stuck in the stores for over a year, which is just insane. Like, why wouldn't you clearance those off? Now, I talked to some people in I think it was either the UK or Australia, I don't remember, but for America, our Stratos is similar to their, where is it? Anti-Eternia He-Man. They said they got an overabundance of Anti-Eternia He-Man, which is a really cool figure of He-Man, just completely black there. And you have the 2 200X versions. We'll get to those. But yeah, so I guess that was overproduced overseas and, really screwed up the line. So yeah, the original, to me, the original Triclops is still worth more in my mind than the fan favorite version. It's pretty hard to find these early versions. It's hard to find them in mint condition. So the first figure that I got out of this collection was Faker, Fisto, and then Skeletor. These were the first three I got. And I said, okay, I'm just going to get the action figures. I'm not going to touch the vehicles. And I got those in mint condition. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to get all the figures in mint condition. And I didn't realize that it's now going on 5 years. It's going on the 6th year, I think, right? Because we're going into 2026, so we're going into the 6th year of these. I did not see that one coming. But yeah, these were the first three I got right here. And when I got those, I set out on a mission to get completely mint. So then I had to go backwards from, this point on, going backwards and finding all of these. And trying to find these on eBay in mint condition, and then telling the people, hey, I'm a collector, can you mail it in a good way, are the pictures accurate? There's all kinds of things, and you run into a lot of problems. And luckily I got these all in mint, and I was able to go back and get them. But yeah, it just very much so a pain to get these in mint condition. Now back to Hordak. I missed what I was going to say about him. If you look at his eyes, now if you have Hordak at home, you can compare this to the one that you have. There's 3 different versions of his eyes. So his eyes are different. Now they also made a deluxe version of Hordak over here. So they really made a lot of different Hordaks. I can't tell if these eyes are different, but I don't have all the variants to that. Maybe someday I'll do it, but I don't really know for now. So yeah, we'll go over here. I'm kind of all over the place here. Merman, got Beastman. So LOP, L-O-P, that's Lords of Power. And these are kind of like the original sketches for those figures. So He-Man was originally called Lords of Power. So you can kind of say these are similar to like sketchbook series a little bit. Pretty close. Stinker was hard for me to find. I saw him in stores once. Only one time did I see him in a store, and the corner was bent just a little bit. And I was like, I could find better. So I skipped it. And then I couldn't find him anywhere. And then when I went to the convention, the Comic-Con, the PowerCon, I found somebody selling them for $20. So I picked them up. So yeah, as we go down here, so starting with Clawful, Horde Trooper, Sunman, Anti-Eternia, He-Man. This was the last wave that was in stores for a very, very long time. And then these were pretty scarce. I only seen them at Target once. And so I got Anti-Eternia, Clawful, and Horde Trooper. They looked in the back room and they had them. So I grabbed those 3, but Sunman was damaged. So I ended up getting Sunman from Big Bad Toy Store online. And now this figure, they overproduced it. So now, like these 2 figures, they only go for like $7. So yeah, another figure that I just overpaid for. This line has been such a waste of money. But I like when I'm working, or I just walk in here and I sit back and you see this, like that's what makes it all worth it. And you sit and you look at it, the far angles when you first walk in, you're like, all right, that's why I spent money on this. So yeah, going forward, Like I said, these were the duplicates of this, just with they started with the 40th sticker. Now the ones with the 40th sticker, also this line was in stores too. This line was a little bit easier to find than this one. So actually this was kind of the last line in stores. Now these four were also in stores, but as far as I know, they were only in Target and extremely hard to find. The only one I ever actually seen in a store was Manny Faces, and I bought it. These other ones I had to buy from online or conventions. So technically these were in stores, but mostly the workers bought them and then sold them straight on eBay. So you can find them on eBay, but when they were in stores, it was like almost impossible. Now once we get into here with King Randor and then this way forward, this was like you could only find these online. And you know, these were hard to find, kind of hard to find, and then like this wave was like lingering around, like I said. So yeah, they made two versions of King Randor. There's that one there, and then the 200X version. And then yeah, they changed the cards up too for a little bit with the snakes on them. So switching it up a little bit. Whiplash was became a pretty rare figure. He's up there with Stratos. Pretty sure he's still pretty rare. Boltman, Cobra Khan. Think he might be more of the rare figures. So now this is interesting. I found a variation here. I don't know how many people know that Rattler has a variation. So this version came out first, this version came out second, and I'll see if I can kind of show what the variation is. If I can get this off here. So if you see this is that piece in the middle there is his neck. Now the first version that came out, which is there, his neck is very smooth. This one has like a pine cone ridge to it where the scales aren't smooth, they actually pop out. So this is kind of a more rare variant, but almost nobody knows that exists, so a lot of people don't even know what version they have. But I would say that's a little bit more rare. This is another sub-series, the Turtles of Grayskull. I just picked these up on clearance just for like reference, like I said. It's a mix between Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and He-Man. So yeah, these are, I've only got a couple of these. Moving on down to here, we have the 200X He-Man and Skeletor. And then here's another version of Roboto that they did in different colors. So the original Roboto is up here. And then this is the repaint. And then we have a really cool line here with Tongue Lasher and the infamous Duplico, which most people call him Cody Rhodes. So there is a variant of Duplico. And the variant is, if you look at his eyebrows, this is, I believe this is the dark eyebrow version. And the other one is a brighter eyebrow version. So there's that. Duplico, like when he came out, I got it at Walmart on their online. They had like an online toy sale for a day or two, and that was kind of the only way you could get Duplico. So he became a very, very rare figure. And if you see, a lot of people got Duplico as the South American version, where the top of the card is different and everything. It's the Latin version. And so for some reason, like, Mexico got tons and tons of Duplico and nobody else did. But recently, in this past year, Europe got a lot of Duplicos. Mattel ended up manufacturing more Duplicos and sending them overseas to Europe. So then now you can find Duplico on eBay for cheaper. He used to go for around 80 to 100 bucks. I think now he's down to maybe 40 or 50 American. So yeah, he went from a very rare figure to still pretty sought after, but you can get them now. This line is pretty interesting because the Snake Tila kind of reminds me of something from like Borderlands a little bit. Slamurai, this is a very rare one. They didn't make very many of Slamurai. And then we kind of came to the end here of the line. Squeeze was a cool figure, but some people found them at Ross on sale. Snakeman Infiltrator. Really, that's the same almost as the Palace Guards down there, which they made a couple different versions of. I think there's a Palace Guard in that 4-pack there, which is they painted them white. We already talked about Manny Faces over here. So the back of that card just has art. It's a little bit different. So yeah, before I jump into this and this, I think I'm going to come over here and talk about this wall over here. So this was the last 2 Deluxes that came in this style of box. So the Deluxes came in these wide packaging, and then when Mossman came out, they switched the Deluxes to these boxes like this. So you could either hang it or you could just put it on the shelf. I didn't really like the boxes much at first, but I kind of like them now, but I like the packaging better. So, like I was saying before, they came out with these fan favorites, which is just duplicates, just money grabs, basically. And then at the end here, we had a couple interesting characters. We had Terror, Lord Grasp, Reptilax, is that how you say that? And then Origins Viper. Now, I really like these figures. I think they're really cool. Viper, for some reason, is a very hard figure to get mint. It took me 4 times to get him. I ordered him mint from online stores. I paid extra to get him as mint. And each time that he came, the bubble was detached from the back. And so I had to complain, and they would send me another. It'd be messed up again. I tried different places. I kept getting refunds. So like, if you look over here, like, all these were messed up from Big Bad Toy Store. Those are all collector grade. So Viper, Terror, and Trapjaw, they're all just falling off the bubble, and those are ones they inspect and you pay more for. So I had to get a refund for those. So yeah, at the end of the Origins came the cartoon collection. So I showed you some of those downstairs. So I just put one here for reference. A little bit before Origins came Masters of the WWE Universe. And so I got a couple of these on sale. And just kind of for reference, these ones actually aren't in mint condition. So eventually I'm just going to sell them all and probably just buy one that's in mint condition for whatever I get out of these. But yeah, these were cool. And you can take these apart and match them with these and swap parts and stuff. And then as the cartoon series was coming out, they started to make the Turtles of Grayskull down here. So there is a variant with these. Like I said, I can't bend too much because of surgery. So I can't. I want to sneeze, hold on. Oh, that hurt. Okay. So yeah, these two are variants. So there's one that's a dark blue and one that's like a translucent blue, where it's kind of more so see-through. And one on the back has a sticker towards the bottom where they kind of made an air and fixed it with a sticker. So yeah, there's two different versions of Ram Man. So there's a variant with that. Yeah, let's go back to over here. Let's finish we'll finish the figures up before we go into these. So these are the Deluxes, and this is all in the order that they came out. And we have Ram Man, which I already said there was a variant to Hordak. There's also a variant to Ram Man. So over here, you won't really be able to tell too much in the video, but let's see, which one is this one? If you look at the silver on this, and then look at the silver on this, this is the shiny version, and this is the dull version. So for some reason they made a variation where his armor was very shiny in one, very dull in the other. And this one was, I think the shiny one was harder to find, for me anyways. And I have Clamp Champ and Mosquito. There's a very, very rare version of Clamp Champ that came out in Canada where he's white. And not just like white, but kind of like an off-color white. It's very odd. They didn't make too many of them. So if you were in Canada, you might have grabbed one of those. I don't think they circulated in America as far as I know. Maybe a couple creeped in, but you know, it's just very, very rare figure. I don't even see people selling them. So if you got one of those like white colored Clamp Champs, it's very, very rare. Now down to Battle Armor He-Man, also another variant for him. So the regular one, shiny armor, his bootstraps aren't painted. I finally found the variant where he's got the dull armor and his boots are painted. This is a pretty rare figure. Luckily I got this one for only like, I think 40 bucks, I think. And before that, I had been searching for this figure for a while, and I only seen them in like the $150 range or $100 range, and I couldn't justify paying that much for it. So when I saw there was a toy store selling this for only 40 bucks, I grabbed it right away. So that's the variant of that. We go down here, got Flying Fist He-Man, Terraclaw Skeletor, and the Flying Fist He-Man, he's got the chrome armor is kind of close to this one. It's got the chrome armor, but it's the battle armor He-Man. So a little bit of a mix-up, mash-up, I guess you can say. So it's, you know, battle armor, but it's, you know, chrome. And then down here, another overproduced line was Leech and Snout Spout. In the other room, I actually have 25 of those. They were on sale because they had so many of them in the stores. They were selling them for like $5 a piece. and I just bought all of them. So still figuring out what I'm gonna do with those. And then these kind of got rare, was King Hiss and Thunder Punch. King Hiss was a little bit easier to find, and these had popped up in Target a couple times, but kind of not really. They had a short quantity of those online at, Big Bad Toy Store and Earth Entertainment, but Thunder Punch He-Man turns out to be one of the rarest, up there with, like Stratos and Slamurai. He's very expensive. He's been really hard to find for people, and very expensive. So we'll get into like Deluxes here, and the Mattel Creations, and some of these other packs, and these are vehicles up here. So like I said, I try to get everything perfectly mint. These ones in the bag were from Big Bad Toy Store. I paid extra for inspected mint condition. So yeah, these are all just the vehicle versions. There you go, like Land Shark, Strider. They overproduced this. So like I said, they overproduced actually the Battle Cats too. These were in Ollie's forever. I think Panther might have been there too as well. But yeah, like I said, I wasn't gonna do vehicles, but in the beginning when I started collecting, Strider was on sale, Land Shark was on sale, and Wind Raider was on sale. Then Rotown was on sale. Then Ground Ripper was on sale. The vehicles they charge a lot for, and they just don't sell. So I ended up getting the beginning ones, and then I was like, okay, I'm just gonna keep going. So yeah, we have, call them, I guess, vehicles there. Some of the OG ones down here, the ones that came out in the 80s. And so these ones are the Mattel Creations ones, and this one is actually, the Sunman is actually from PowerCon, so this one's a little bit different. But yeah, they sold on, these were the first Mattel Creations that they were selling online. They came in these cool art boxes. I don't remember which figure this is actually. I want to say Fang, but I could be wrong. Actually, I already forgot the names of these. Yeah, so like here's Space Sumo here, but then here's Space Sumo as one of the online special ones, and these go all the way back, like 4 rows back. And then so now the ones that they sell online, they just come in these generic shipping boxes. And the first ones that they made didn't have no icon, and I'll show you what I mean in a second. People would get confused what was in the box. So this is the latest one, is Dragster. They actually started putting little icons on the box so you know what's inside of it. So that's pretty cool. This big one here is Lady Slither, which I never opened up that one either. So that's a pretty cool one. A lot of these dual packs here, that was online only, but like Keldor and these kind of got overproduced a little bit, went on sale. Same with these 3-packs. They start off at $50, and then they went down to something like 20 or 15 bucks to just get rid of them. So they made 2 3-packs of the Sunman, which is kind of a cool pack, but this pack was really unneeded. Pighead, we have him right there. Sunman, they made about a bazillion versions of him. They got that Sunman, this Sunman, that Sunman over there. I think that's the exact same as this, almost. Space Sumo, which was back behind there or whatever. I think that's Koldar, if I'm saying his name right. I traded a Duplico for Koldar. It was pretty neat. There was a guy that lived pretty far away from me, like 2 hours from me. So we met up halfway. We both drove an hour, met for 5 minutes, exchanged, and we were on our way. So we both laughed because we were just like, we drove an hour. Like, we're both 40 in our 40s. We drove an hour just to exchange a toy for 5 minutes. But yeah, that's Grizzler down there. Now, when they first were doing these releases, I'm also missing the fan exclusive Triclops, which is kind of the different color one. I have to get that one too. But yeah, when they first were coming out with these, people were really scalping them, and they had no sort of captchas or anything, so people would buy them, they would sell out, and then resell them on eBay for just a shitload of money. So they eventually reissued Grizzler and the Wonder Bread He-Man figure. I can't remember what his official name was, but they did make a second run of Grizzler and that figure because, so many people were scalping them. Down there, that's a 4-pack set. The newer one, like I was saying, it has the Eternian Palace Guard in there, but it's like a white painted version. And then it's got 3 other figures in there. I don't remember, but the setup is basically the same as this box here. And I don't want to take it out of the plastic, but you can lift this lid up